You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about the Browns. A lot going on up in Cleveland this morning, including the first sighting of Todd Monken at Cleveland Browns headquarters. And I got to be honest with you, I told you yesterday, the more that I'm not a Browns fan, but the more you hear from ex-players, coaches around the NFL, the more you sort of examine the resume, the Todd Monken hire looks better and better as the days go on. I mean, there's some heavy Baltimore Ravens influence here, which I think is something that the Browns organization probably could stand to use, to be honest with you. And let's start here before we get to the first interaction between Shedeur Sanders and some insight on Todd Monken and Shedeur Sanders, right? Let's start here. Browns got themselves a new offensive coordinator. Former Ravens run game coordinator Travis Switzer is expected to be the Browns' new OC per Aaron Wilson NFL. And in case you are wondering, let me just go over here. This guy's been with the Baltimore Ravens since 2017. 9 years in various roles. And it looks like in 2019, he started getting involved in the offense. Spent the last 2 years as a run game coordinator. Now look, the Ravens obviously had a great run game, but they had Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Question is, what can you do without those two guys on the roster? Now, that leads us into this. Got a little insight from Albert Breer on one of the questions, the much talked about questions. Maybe this was an essay question. God, the Browns process was nuts. Just a total clown show. Again, I said you may have actually backed in somehow, some way into a good coach through all of this nonsense, which is kind of crazy. Will Todd Monken be tasked with developing Shedeur Sanders? Quote, one of the 6 questions on the test, I'm told, was how would you develop Shedeur Sanders? It sure sounds like Shedeur Sanders is the starter of the Cleveland Browns at quarterback. You still got a draft, but the starter at quarterback for the 2026 season. That's what it sounds like. How would you develop Shedeur Sanders? Oh, wait a minute. He was one of 3 players specifically mentioned in that question. So maybe Dillon Gabriel and Deshaun Watson were part of the question. Maybe. 3 players, so you would think the other 2 would be the other 2 quarterbacks. After poking around a bit, I can say the candidates didn't take that as a definitive sign that new Browns coach would start Sanders, nor did those guys get the impression in the interviews. Moreover, the question designed to elicit the candidate's view on the head coach's role in developing players, specifically quarterback. I don't know about that. It kind of feels like we're headed towards Shedeur Sanders being the starter. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But there's been some fire out there about Deshaun Watson. A lot of fire, to be honest with you. God, I would hate that. I would hate that for Browns fans. I've seen the response to that in the last 24 hours. Browns fans are livid. They don't want Deshaun Watson sniffing the field. You know? I mean, I'm going to be honest. The Niners could pick up Deshaun Watson, and I wouldn't root for him for a year or however long they had Deshaun Watson on my team. I guess I'd be rooting for the Patriots that year. I'd find me another side team. I'm not rooting for Deshaun Watson. I'm not. So, anyway, you can tell how much this means to Todd Monken, coached 26 years in college, 11 in the NFL, all waiting for this one shot to be an NFL head coach. He will do whatever it takes to fully seize the Browns' opportunity. Here he is.
When I got off the plane, I'm like, it's everything you work for. Everything you work for. Really cool. Really cool.
All right. So, there it is. There it is. Now, Shedeur. By the way, this got posted on Cleveland Browns official social media, and Adam Schefter shared it as well. I mean, this is one of the big reasons why I think he's probably the starter.
What's going in at? Oh, yeah.
Hey, hello, young man. What's up? Good to see you, bro. How you doing? Welcome back to the States.
How we doing, man?
Good.
Yeah, we tried to draft your ass last year. For God's sake. It's all worked out.
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to tell you.
Someday we'll get a chance to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, sit down.
Interesting. Because we know the Ravens tried to draft him. That story came out, and Shedeur turned him down. He said, someday we'll get to talk about that. That's interesting. That's, man, this could either really work out. The playmaker and the mastermind. Shedeur's the starter for 2026. I would be shocked if it's anybody besides Shedeur Sanders. And I would guess, if I'm just keeping it real, look, we talked about this. Todd Monken, and by the way, again, this is Todd's resume. Ravens, Georgia Bulldogs. Really, the last 5 years been really impressive. And there's been some acknowledgement now that maybe the fans would have taken this differently if Todd Monken would have just been 10 years younger, which is kind of wild to me, I guess, considering this guy could coach for 8 to 10 years. If you're running into a problem because of his age, our coach is getting kind of old, then I would say something's worked out because he's been around a while. Because he's just now turning 60, literally. Like next week, I think he turns 60 or something like that. So it looks like it's Shedeur Sanders' show at this point. I cannot imagine all of this fanfare. Shedeur's now made the Pro Bowl. Yeah, that's a total joke. It is. I mean, it makes the Pro Bowl look bad. I really wish he'd have turned it down, but it's a television show. They want him to go out there. The ratings have been bad. And whether we like it or not, Shedeur Sanders going to pull ratings. I know some people will be like, what? Yeah, he will. It's kind of like Caitlin Clark. If Shedeur Sanders is on television, people turn it over there and watch. Even I got to admit, when Shedeur Sanders was put in as a starter, all of a sudden the Browns made my secondary TV exclusively on Sunday Ticket. I put the Browns on and I had them on and watched them while Red Zone was on the bottom TV. I told you guys, I root for interesting, and the shit became real interesting real fast. Make sure you hit subscribe. Check to make sure you're still subscribed. blackwhitenetwork.com, merch, exclusive members videos. Again, put one up day before yesterday. May do another one later today. Member live stream, 4 o'clock Central Time today. Become a member, hang out. We talk a lot of football on there. A lot of football. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time. on Black and White Sports.